Whether you bought a home before or not, the experience of working with a realtor to purchase a home is very different in 2025. I previously bought a home back in 2016 and I'm trying to buy a house right now, and the experience has changed. This is mainly because the National Association of REALTORS had a settlement to a lawsuit last year that was finalized, and it changed things in favor of the consumer. This is interesting because it now allows both agents and consumers buying a home or selling a home to negotiate the compensation for realtors when going through these transactions. It is very different than before and something that I was honestly not expecting or prepared to go into. That's great. And in this video, I want to talk about how we found a realtor, some of the things that we considered and went through, and some things that you may want to consider as well. So the very first step is to actually look for a real estate agent to work with. During this process, you are going to want to talk about the general process of purchasing a home, and you're going to want to also discuss fees. Even though that's uncomfortable for some people, you want to know what you're getting into and what they are looking for as well. Depending on the house you eventually find, you may be paying the realtor or the seller may be paying the realtor, and you could be negotiating the price from 3% to 1%. You could be kind of finding a way to make it a less costly transaction by negotiating those fees. So you want to be clear and upfront about what they are expecting and what you are willing to give, and make sure that the partnership with your realtor makes sense. As far as finding a realtor, a great way to find someone is to ask your friends who they used. If you are looking in a specific area, if you're new there, you can read reviews online, of course. You can also go through sites like Zillow and just see who they match you up with, and do that a couple different times to find the right person. I will say you can also always change this. You are going to sign a buyer's agreement to look at homes. Make sure when you are first working with someone and going to see houses, you sign a short-term agreement with them to work with them, so that way you are not locked in forever. I will say that we found someone that showed us a couple houses early on in the process, and we decided not to work with them, and I was very glad that I had not agreed to a longer term contract or making sure that we were going to actually buy a house with this person. I'll be honest, our situation was a little weird. We found her through Zillow, and I had never met her before. I didn't know anything about her. She was not a referral, and at the very first house we looked at, she took a picture with my daughter, and I do not put my daughter online for very obvious reasons, and I do not allow strangers to take pictures of my daughter, so that just kind of was a very strange situation and something I was not comfortable with, so I did not work with her ongoing. We did end up finding a realtor through friends who had worked with them before, and I actually went to high school with his wife. Small world. And we were very comfortable with this situation, and he was able to work quickly with us when we surprisingly found a house and wanted to see it the very next day, even though we had not contacted him before. So the next thing you need to do is actually understand the National Association of REALTORS settlement and what that does for you. Basically, you have the power to negotiate the fees on a home, and when you're signing agreements with realtors, make sure you understand what you're signing and make sure you're not being pressured to offer a buyer's agent commission up front to make sure that you are able to potentially not pay this. If an agent is pressuring you to agree to pay them a certain amount based on them finding a home for you, you don't have to agree to that. You could find a home like we did where the seller was paying for the buyer agent's fee. So they are paying 3% to the buyer's agent, and I'm not paying him anything. So that is our situation that we ended up with based on the house. And honestly, we didn't go into it knowing that, I'll be frank. But if we had agreed to that up front, I would be paying a lot more money for the transaction than I currently am. So make sure you understand what you're actually allowed to do and agree to. And when you're signing an agreement with your realtor, you are not agreeing to anything that you're uncomfortable with or agreeing to fees that you don't want to upfront offer. And if you're working with the right realtor, you should be working with someone that can negotiate their own fees with the listing side, so that way they are being paid what they want to be paid and need to be paid without it coming out of necessarily your pocket up front. You can find realtors that are able to do this, and if you're finding one that's not able to, or they're just telling you to skip houses that don't upfront offer that commission to them, that's not a great sign, and you may want to reconsider working with them. One huge change that happened with the settlement last year is that now buyer's agents, the real estate agents working with potential buyers, have to sign a legal agreement with the buyers. This written buyer's agreement outlines the relationship that is between the real estate agent and the buyer. This establishes kind of how the agent will get paid, what the commission will look like, or who will be paying it. It establishes how long you will be working together, and it must be signed before you start looking at homes together. These can be a short-term contract, maybe just one day to go see a home with an agent to see if you like working with them, or it can be for a longer period if you think you'll be looking for homes for a while, or it can be until you actually find the house that you want to buy. This is up to you and the real estate agent to come to an agreement and then sign it so you have a legal agreement together. And it can look like whatever fits your situation the best. You need to make sure that it fits your situation the best and you're not being pressured into it by a real estate agent. But you do have to have an agreement now, which was different than before, where you could just go see houses with an agent and then switch, and then it didn't matter, and there was no clear communication and no clear guidelines on how people would get paid and how working together would look like. And now that is in place, which I think honestly is a good thing. All of this allows you as the consumer, as the buyer, to be in a better position. It gives you more power. You are able to negotiate the fees that you will be paying, that the real estate agent will be receiving, and this allows you to shop around. You can go to a different agent who will take less for a commission and offer the same services. Or if you're checking out different agents, but you really like one, but they're a little bit more expensive because they want a little bit more in commission, you can shop around and then ask them to match those other agents. Then you can kind of have the best of both worlds. This might not work, but it might. It gives you the ability to know what you're going into up front and negotiate for your own behalf. This is really important when they are earning tens of thousands of dollars just by working with you and helping you purchase a home. So honestly, the biggest thing to take away from this is always read and check your agreements. All of these changes are so that you as the consumer, as the customer, as the buyer of the home are better protected, you're more aware of what's happening, and you're able to get a better pricing situation and you're able to negotiate. All of those things are fantastic for us as buyers, as people who are purchasing homes in 2025 and beyond. I hope that the real estate industry continues to move in this direction and there is more clarity and clear options for people who are buying homes and selling homes. Some of the past dealings have been super shady, so it's nice to see an industry, even if they're being forced into it, moving in a direction that is better for consumers. For most of us, these are the most expensive transactions in our lives, and we need to make smart decisions and have protections to make sure that we are getting the best deals possible. If you can spend less money and keep more of your money for yourself, I think that's a great option. I'm so glad that some of these protections have been put in place to help both the agent and the consumer have a better working relationship where things are more clear and the buyer is able to get the home that they want, but also be in a position to be happy with the pricing and the agent fees that they're paying. Those are a few of the things that I found completely different buying a home in 2025 versus when I did it back in the day in 2016, or if we had even bought last year. Finding a realtor is so important and a huge part of your success when purchasing a home. So definitely make sure you spend the time to find the right person. Don't be afraid to walk away from someone and find someone better. Don't be afraid to shop around and negotiate prices. This is super important for you and your family as you buy a home. So make sure that you take the time and have the confidence to do so. If you want more videos about the home buying process, definitely watch this video next.